All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Kettleson with the Upper Minnesota Valley Regional Development Commission. Thank you all for joining us today for our 6th Employer Lunch and Learn, where we share examples and resources aimed at helping our region's employers address workforce needs. For those of you that are new, the Upper Minnesota Valley Regional Development Commission is a regional agency, and we provide a variety of services, including planning, grant writing, community and economic development, regional marketing, as well as we have a revolving loan fund. We're involved with the Meander Art Crawl in the fall. You may have heard of that. We serve 5 counties in western Minnesota, including Big Stone, Chippewa, Lackaparle, Swift, and Yellow Medicine, as well as all the cities, townships, school districts, and the Upper Sioux community. Like I said, this is our 6th webinar that we've done, and if you haven't been able to join us on the previous ones, I will drop a link in the chat here. We have all the recordings on our website with the slides and stuff. If you're interested in a topic, you can go back and check those out, as well as today's, like I said, where we are recording this one. So that will be up there in a few days as well. Today we have Beth Gasser of Vivid Marketing out of Hutchinson. Beth is both the owner and marketing coach with Vivid, and will share different avenues as well as some tips and tricks you can use to get the word out about any openings and get them in front of more applicants. And then we'll turn it over to Melissa Streich from the Upper Minnesota Valley Regional Development Commission, one of my coworkers, and she'll talk about her work in developing community toolkits, which communities and employers can use in recruiting new employees to the area. The toolkits showcase the community's various amenities and services to help sell the community to potential applicants, in addition to the job position itself, which we know is just as important these days in recruiting people to the area. Like I said, we'll have Beth go first, and at the end of hers, we'll allow a little bit of time for questions if you have any, or if you have some, please feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll address them at that time. And then we'll also have some time at the end of today's presentations to take some questions too, if you have some. So with that, I will turn things over to Beth and she can get started.
All right. Hello. Is my screen shared? I momentarily, while you were talking, lost it, and I think I brought it back. So we good?
You're good to go.
All right. Well, as Kevin said, I'm Beth Gasser. I've been a small business owner for over 30 years, and I currently own 4 small businesses. I have Vivid Image. It's our marketing and web design company. I own a hair salon on Main Street in Hutch, property management company, and then a short-term rental property in Arizona. So in the last 30 years, I've gained a lot of perspective on what works and doesn't work to help businesses and nonprofits, acquire more customer activity and new employees. I help dozens of businesses every week with their hiring process and how to leverage their marketing to help fill those positions. And not only do I benefit from those relationships that I get to work with every week, to kind of keep my finger on the pulse of what they're telling me is working and not working, and how applicants are coming in. But I'm also an active part of some HR roundtables, where you guessed it, employers get together, kind of like what you're doing now. And we talk solely about hiring challenges and successes and share resources and things like that. So that I attend that so that I can pass it on to you and anyone else that I'm talking to about hiring. So I'm excited to share some of that with you today. I'm going to talk fast and hopefully give you a chance to ask some clarifying questions right when I'm done. So as many of you have, maybe some of you have been in my workshops in the past. So I'm going to focus today really on more of an update on what's going on and what I'm hearing, and some things I can pass along to you that are best tips. So I'm going to get started, and I want to acknowledge that not all top talent is scanning the job boards, but they can still be your next hire. With every position you need to fill, you have actively seeking, those kind of out job seeking, looking for a new opportunity. And then you have those who aren't actively seeking. You know, they're in a position right now. They're not currently looking to switch jobs. And so I like to say this isn't about stealing employees, but rather focusing on finding the best mutual fit for long-term employment, happiness, loyalty. It's what, you know, healthy employers and healthy employees ultimately want. All right, so to reach the best candidates, you need to really get your job openings in front of as many people as possible. So that a lot of times that's where I start talking to people about where do they list, what do they do. And while there's no wrong place to list your openings, it's important to be mindful of cost, as some platforms may offer better reach and visibility than others. And so today we're going to review some of the places where companies are successfully finding candidates, as well as some of the recent changes on some of those platforms. Also, just a quick tip, my philosophy is that if it's free and it doesn't take you a long time, put it there. Again, no wrong places. There's just some places that may produce more results for you. So I love to share this checklist. This is actually just a little peek into my head. These are the things that I think of all the time immediately when I get asked for help. So the phone will ring, somebody's saying, I'm trying to hire a CDL truck driver. I'm trying to hire an RN at a senior care facility. Can you do an ad for me? And I'll say, absolutely, but let's back up, slow down. So first I'll say, do you have it on your website? Because if it's not on your website, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's a frustration for candidates, whatever it is. So this is kind of the order that I guide people through. Give me a call back when it's on your site. And then I say, let your staff know and ask if they have questions. Don't do things in a silo, like just a silo. Some businesses are really small and there's only a couple people, but some are bigger. And it's really important to let your team know that you're hiring and what it is and if they have any questions. And then posting it on on your own social media. It really is the first step to getting it out there and doing it free, so putting it on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever you may be. And then sharing your company's social posts to your personal channels. Again, come work with me, whatever. You're going to lead by example and get that word out there. Don't just expect, everything will just, build a feel. If you build it, they'll come. It's a lot of getting that out there, repetition. Then let your staff know to share social media posts on their personal channel. Again, if you have it already crafted, your HR person has looked at it, it's a come work with me, come join me. I want to get the word out. And that's really an important part because a lot of good new hires, a really good fit, come from referrals, and staff have a stock in it. It's who they're going to work with. And so it's just really good to involve them in the process. Post to all your member chambers. If you're in one chamber or if you've got a couple locations or you're in 3 member locations, get on the Chamber Master job board. Any other local areas, job boards or Facebook groups that are specific for hiring and things like that, get them there. Post on your Google business profile for your company or nonprofit that you're hiring and get that new post on there. And then I like to advise putting it in your email footer. You can keep it really simple, like we're hiring, check it out, link to your employment page. Or if it's a really specific position, like we are hiring a nighttime overnight RN, put it there and link for that information, help us get the word out, whatever it might be. Then create the free job post on LinkedIn. Everybody with a LinkedIn profile gets 1 free job each month. And so get that out there. LinkedIn, Indeed, a few others that we'll talk about in a minute. They all feed to Google and other places. And so it's just another way to get the word out and let it keep multiplying. Minnesota Workforce Center and Jobs and Training can be another great resource if you have an account there. Job boards of local colleges or nearest colleges with relevant degree programs, especially if you're hiring like a welder or a nurse or something like that, where those programs, if they have alumni boards or other things, and we're going to get into that a little bit more too, and then create the ads on Indeed, Facebook, Google Ads, LinkedIn, whatever. So your ads really are the end point. After all the good stuff, all the information is out there already for them to find, then start putting money toward it so that your money maximizes, you don't frustrate candidates and that kind of thing. All right. So since the hiring landscape is constantly changing, the platforms are evolving too. So we're going to take a look at some of the recent updates you may or may not be aware of, so you can take full advantage of reaching more candidates quicker and with less headaches. So we're going to jump in. And again, if you have questions here at the end, you can ask me very specific. So the first one is Indeed. Without a doubt, hands down, I hear it and I check up with other employers all the time, and it has not changed. For the most part, Indeed is the number one place to reach candidates and get good applicants in. However, Indeed has flip-flopped since the pandemic. You may or may not be using Indeed and know that you were able to list for free. And then there was a period where if it was a really hard sought after job like a CNA, you couldn't. You had to pay. Well, now they've announced that there is no free more. That ended. And they want all listings paid. With the exception of if you're a larger company and you use a third-party tool for your HR, payroll, job listing stuff like an ADP that feeds into Indeed, those are going to stay not paid, probably because Indeed's already getting a cut from that company. But for the most part, they will be all paid ads on Indeed. So that is a big recent change. LinkedIn is a great place, especially for professional positions. This isn't always the best place maybe to find, a C-store cashier or an hourly employee of some sort. Does it hurt to put it on? No, it absolutely does not hurt. And you certainly can, but your candidates may not be hanging out here. One of the things I like to talk about real quick when we're talking about candidates that are seeking positions and those that are currently looking is passive and active searching. So anytime you're putting things just out on social media, it's almost always a passive thing. Like if they see it or somebody sees it and they share it with them, that's very passive. They're not actively seeking. Ads, even on Facebook, are passive because somebody, if you think about it, they're on Facebook, they're scrolling, whatever, they are not job searching. An ad, though, on Indeed or Google Ads where somebody's maybe looking for something, that's an active searcher. And just so that you kind of know that they fit. So LinkedIn is kind of both passive if it's on your company profile, active if it's an ad, or you're putting it on a job board where maybe somebody's got a notification set or something like that. One change that LinkedIn made is that they have to have an email address at the company where you want to put the job in. They've toyed around with this in the past. They took it away and let me or somebody else outside of the company do it for people, which was wonderful. And I could do it for other companies, and now I can't unless I have an email there. So very important that, maybe the owner, the HR person, your marketing person, whoever you have, you each get one. So do it differently. If you're hiring maybe, let's say an LPN, an RN, and a CNA, you divide those up and each of you get one free job posting each month in LinkedIn Jobs. So take advantage of that and get it in there. Handshake, this is probably the main job board for most universities and colleges in Minnesota, or that I find, including North Dakota and South Dakota. In our area, Handshake is just very, very popular. There are free and paid options. So you absolutely can create an account and post your position on there for alumni to check. And then they have a paid option. I don't know if they had it in the past and they just didn't really promote it, but they're really heavily promoting it now and making it aware. I have not personally used it, but it's fairly affordable at $15 per day per job. if you really need to kind of get more visibility, or so it says. And I look forward to using it. I have one client that's going to dive in and use it here soon. So I'll have more to report on that. But Handshake is a great option to getting the word out there. The other one that some colleges use, maybe not as frequently, but in our area, Ridgewater, so Ridgewater and Wilmer, move to this platform, employercentral.com. There are no free options, only paid, and they start at like $199 per position. A little spendy, but it's an opportunity out there, especially if you're feeling just like you've got to get this hired fast, or you've been trying to hire and you need another avenue to try. Check out Employer Central. Facebook, probably our number 2 reported, especially with very specific, local positions, hiring especially with people who aren't necessarily going to move for a job. That doesn't mean it can't happen, but I see a lot of success in CDL drivers, bus drivers, CNAs or caregivers, office help, those kinds of things. Facebook ads work very, very well. One issue to be aware of that we're running into is it is a special ad category. So if you've run any Facebook ads, you have to report it as an employment ad, and it's very limited. And 2, their AI tool has just gone rogue. So majority of employment ads are rejected. Even for us as an agency, I've been doing them since they started. And I have almost 100% of my employment ads rejected. And I have a paid verify. I put a quick look on for Vivid Image and for myself. There's individual and business verified. You pay Facebook basically for support, and that's how I get the employment ads published. So if you do run into that, I just kind of showed a picture of what it looks like to get called as fraud, scams, and deceptive practices. And while that can happen, highly unlikely that you've done something wrong. There are a lot of rules with employment ads, but just know that AI just goes a little crazy on Facebook. This is a newer opportunity. A client shared with me a couple weeks ago. Maybe you've heard of it, especially if you're in the senior care, but caring careers start here. It is specific to senior care, both employers like nursing homes and assisted living facilities, and any kind of staff that they hire that provides direct care support. And I believe that it's a free tool to go in and get an account set up and list positions. So great tool to use. Minnesota nonprofits. I don't know if we've got nonprofits on here with us today, but if you are a member of the Minnesota Council of Nonprofits, you pay a membership fee. It's not very expensive. The last time I did it, I helped a client with it, I think it was like $130, $150, something like that. And then you could get your jobs listed there, and it's a very popular place for both nonprofit employers and those seeking a position in the nonprofit world. So just, I like to say it because if you're already paying for it, it's just another great place to list positions. So getting your candidates to apply, this would be the other thing that typically I can see some stumbling blocks that might discourage candidates from applying, especially younger candidates, these next generation. So here are the places that create the most hiring friction that I can tell you about. One is a bad or missing online reputations. Candidates check. They are looking at your website. They're looking at your Google business profile. They're looking at Indeed. They're reading what people say, whether they're employees or whether they are customers. They just really want to know, who is this place, someplace I want to work. And they're doing their homework. So make sure that you're giving some attention to the reputation. This is the next one's probably, I see it constantly, old, vague, or missing job descriptions, or missing parts of job descriptions. You really have to give attention to job descriptions each and every time you hire. And if it's a continual one where you're kind of constantly always hiring that position, maybe set it up on a schedule where you're looking at it every quarter to make sure it is up to date. and don't hide the pay. Those days are just, they're really over. And I can guarantee you, I know that's kind of an unpopular thing. People don't want to hear that. But I speak the truth, that if it comes down to pay, as a reason that they're going to apply, they're going to pick your competitor or somewhere else or stay where they're at if there's any uncertainty. And it's okay to do a range or a starting at, or depending on experience, but give some kind of indication, and be as thorough as you can in job descriptions. I cannot tell you how many times I see, like, it doesn't even tell if it's full-time or part-time. Don't make people assume, because this generation doesn't assume. So anyway, just put all the information out there and make it really interesting and readable and very well proved. No online secure application. Those days of paper applications are over. It doesn't mean you can't have them as a way to apply, but if it's your only means to apply, you're going to miss out on candidates, and really good ones, especially the tech savvy candidates that you just, you want to have a secure application. So it doesn't mean either that you can just create a form on your site. It has to be secure, because you can't ask for private information. And then not selling the benefits of working at your place. So it's really important that you are showing your culture, your happy employees, you're quoting them, you're putting them in photos or videos or stories, or whatever you can do on your social media, on your website, wherever it might be. Maybe you go to job fairs, bring somebody with you that can just talk about that position, things like that. All right. I talked really fast, but ultimately your goal is to make the application process friction-free, well-crafted job posts, get your position out there everywhere you can, so that you encourage the right candidates to apply. So I know that was a lot really fast. Is there questions I can answer for you?
Yeah, a lot of good information there, Beth. Things I hadn't heard of, and hopefully our audience learned a few things as well. So yeah, if you guys have a question, feel free to put it in the chat or come off mute and fire away. Quiet group today.
All right. Well, if you think of something later too,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, we'll have time at the end too if you're thinking about something. But if not, I think we'll keep things moving here and turn things over to Melissa from the RDC, talk about community toolkits.
All right. Can you see my screen, Kevin? Good to go? Okay. Alrighty, yep. Thank you. Thanks, Beth. There's a lot of new platforms that you shared with us that I haven't heard before. And with online stuff, it's always constantly changing. So we appreciate those updates. But today I'm going to build off of Beth's presentation and talk to you about the Western Minnesota Prairie Waters, our regional recruitment program that is a program of the Upper Minnesota Valley Regional Development Commission. And I am going to talk to you about kind of some of the local resources and efforts that our office has put together over the last, gosh, I don't even know, 20 years of information that we've really been building on and updating these resources. And we want to be able to share them with our communities and our employers to be able to utilize throughout your hiring process. So to start off, what is Western Minnesota Prairie Waters? So I see a few familiar faces, so I apologize if you've heard this speech 1,000 times. But for those of you that are new, it's an organization, as I mentioned, through the UMVRDC, a tourism and recruitment program where we market our 5 counties of Big Stone, Chippewa, Swift, Lackaparle, Yellow Medicine, and the communities within those counties to promote our region as a great place to live, visit, and work. So we are a membership-based organization funded through our cities, counties, chambers, and EDAs. So you can see up here, this is just a quick snapshot of our 2024 members. And some of the projects that we work on. So I'm going to dive into this portion of it. And again, all of these projects that I speak of today are are resources that you can take and send directly to potential new employees. We have some tangible items like with our visitor's guide and whatnot that we can get into your hands. So if you sit down with that employee, you can kind of put together a little welcome packet and whatnot for them. We have a lot of stuff today that I want to share with you for you to be able to just take and to help your hiring processes. So to start off here, the program's been around since the 80s. And then in 2015, we really wanted to transition the program from not just being a tourism organization, that's really where it started. But we kind of sat down with our local officials and figured out, we really got to kind of take us up a notch. And that's when we decided that we need to make it not only tourism based, but more of a recruitment program, a marketing program. We don't want people to just come and visit and leave. We want them to come visit and have a great time and potentially see themselves living here and encouraging them to get a job here and to, raise their family or to be long timers here. So that's really the initial goal with this program. We've done a ton of different projects. So number one here you can see is our Prairie Waters website. So I encourage you to kind of browse through it on your own. I am going to hit on a few of the projects within there in a bit here, but I'm not going to go through everything because there's a lot of information on there. But the essential goal with this website is to just kind of be that one-stop shop for our community, for our region, for all those livability informations, for all the places to eat in the region, the 5-county region, to, stay, to shop. We have community events listed on there on a calendar, and actually a plug to Vivid. So Vivid does all of our Vivid Image, one of Beth's businesses, does all of our marketing and our website design. So very grateful for that partnership and working with them. They do a fabulous job. So I'll come back to our website in a bit and show you some stuff. Another project that we work on or put together is our visitor relocation guide. So we print about 20,000 copies of these guides, and we have them distributed all across the state at travel information centers. We have them in our local businesses. Highly encourage employers, again, to utilize them, during that hiring process, or even just to have in your waiting room. People are sitting around, they can grab a guide and kind of browse through it, because this guide isn't only designed for new residents. It's also designed, for people that live here. I mean, every time I redo this guide, every couple of years, I learn something new of where something's at. And it's like, there's so many hidden gems within our region. I think it's just as valuable for our local folks as well. We have them down at the Travel Information Center. We go through thousands of them down there at the Mall of America. They're always calling and requesting more. And then we have Minnesota West Community Colleges in both Granite Falls and Canby are utilizing them in their student orientation packets. And one thing that's pretty cool about this guide is when we designed this guide, we sat down with a handful of large employers and really wanted their input on, what would you include in this guide to make it beneficial for you to use on the other end throughout your hiring process. And then workforce recruitment. So this is kind of just a relationship building with our employers over the years. There's a handful of you on this call that I've sat down with before and kind of gone through these questions and done some strategic planning with. But what we did was during COVID, what I ended up doing was identifying about 25 large employers that I could sit down with and have like an hour just one-on-one conversation with them, asking them what type of marketing materials do they need for, hiring. I think a handful that I had heard from, or majority of them, had mentioned, it would just be nice to have something tangible to, or a welcoming packet, something updated, something fresh, something visual. A lot of our chambers and cities are kind of going away from those brochures, or they may not be updated. So we do a lot of collaboration with our chambers. They sit on our board. Everything that we do is partnered with our chambers. So we're trying not to duplicate here. We're trying to be inclusive with everybody and utilize all of our different resources that are out there for this program. And it was no surprise sitting down with these employers, asking them, what are some of the hurdles or setbacks you're hearing during new hires? Why maybe someone is not moving to our region? And again, no surprise, it was housing, childcare, and then it was kind of the things to do. So, I started thinking that I'm like, well, what if I could create some sort of tool that would be able to tell that story a little bit better and be inclusive again to, you know, for instance, I'm going to use the city of Madison for an example. I wanted to pull, they have a chamber website and a welcome packet on their own. They have a county's website with a welcome packet. They have their city's website. And then we have our Prairie Waters Tourism that includes a lot of their stuff as well. So I wanted to take all of that information and pull it into essentially what I'll show you here is just a link, a one document that you could just take this link as an employer, send it to that potential new employee, and they have access to all of this stuff that is out there. So you're not, you know, trying to go to the chamber's website for some stuff or going to our website or the city's. I wanted it all in one place. So I created what I call these employer toolkits or community toolkits, because the community can use it just as much as an employer could. So here's an example. We have them for all of our Prairie Waters members, but I want to show you an example of what we did for the city of Madison. So here you can see, and you just scroll. So again, the purpose was to just provide a link, and we have a handful of employers that actually embed this link directly onto their employment page. So you can get kind of that snapshot of, if you're not from the area, of, you know, what it's like to live here. So here we have our visitor and relocation guide, but again, we wanted to include stuff that the community's already done as well. So Madison has a welcome packet, so we included that, and the county has a welcome packet. So we included all those guides in there. We talk about housing, so you can click on these links and it'll bring you to, you know, houses for sale within the county or just Madison. We list all of our area realtors, and then we did some fun cost of living graphics. Are you able to see this okay, Kevin? Or should I zoom in? You good? Okay. We did these fun cost of living graphics. So here you can see what a 2,200 square foot house in Madison would be versus what you would get in the metro area in St. Paul. And then you can also see the differences in those taxes. So we included different cost of living graphics like this. And then we also ran some social media campaigns and Google Analytics campaigns kind of all around this. Again, just trying to market people to Madison. Here we list the rentals in Madison. Again, sometimes some cities are great about having this stuff on there. We have a lot of small communities that we work with that do not even have, you know, if they have rentals in town, they don't have it listed on their website. So if you're not online, it's very hard to be seen. Childcare, we talk about, if you click on this link, it brings you to all the licensed childcare providers within the county, and then Little Eagles Daycare, which is based out of Madison. And again, doing a cost comparison of childcare within Lackaparra County versus what you could get in Hennepin County, which is just mind-boggling. And I think it's way different now too, a bigger difference now as well when I was pulling some numbers. Hit on our education, talk about our healthcare, employment opportunities. So here we listed some of our top employers in Madison, kind of thinking, you know, for that trailing spouse. Talk about working remotely and some providers that we have, some quality of life. This didn't, my little image of it didn't pull up, but we've created some stories as well. Let's see if I can pull one up here for you. We created some resident stories to just try to relate to, again, a potential new employee. So this story is just about John and Maria. Maria's originally from the area, went off, got her medical degree and came back, and she is our local doctor now in town, family doctor. So it just talks about their family, why they love living in Madison, why they came back to the area. So again, just trying to tell the story of our region to those potential newcomers. There's some videos in there that we wrote as well, or worked with as well. Sorry, keep scrolling here. And then also within this toolkit, you can click on this link. It'll bring you to Madison's page on our Prairie Waters website, and where they just have more information, detailed information on the community. And then if you clicked on that other link, it'll bring you to the county's amenities as well. So again, just trying to pull all of the different resources that are out there to make it easy for someone to move to this area. So again, I would encourage employers to take this link and embed it directly onto your employment page or on your website to just kind of have that employer toolkit to be able to utilize to entice someone to want to kind of move out to our area. So that's another tool you can utilize. On our website, this is just a snapshot. So we worked with Vivid a couple years ago in designing this job job board is kind of how we call it. So what we're doing with this is we are pulling from, I forget how many there is now, maybe 12, 15, a handful of different online job boards, and we're pulling them directly onto this one page on our website, where you can then filter. On the left, you can see here, again, this is a screenshot, but you can filter by community or you can filter by keyword. And then the beauty of having this on our website is you then have access to, again, if you find a job or you're looking for a job and fall onto our website, well, then you can browse the website and see what else there is to live here. And then what we ended up doing too, once we launched this page on our website, we ran some social media campaigns along with some Google Analytics campaigns. So if you were on Google and search employment in Western Minnesota, we would have a little ad that would then pop up and would drive you directly to our webpage. So we did some fun campaigns with that as well to try to get some more exposure to our region and those jobs that are available. Developable properties, I'm going to scan over that quick. But then housing development inventory, this is another project actually has been working on. And what but we're going to have kind of this, again, kind of a housing toolkit for communities and employers to be able to share with those potential newcomers. But what it does is it basically lists any residential lots or housing areas that includes any incentives that communities may have, whether that's, reduced costs in a lot or free utilities, tax abatement, any TIF. So it's kind of just a little housing resource guide that we're customizing for each of our communities, participating communities, to, again, just have as a resource, encouraging folks to buy lots, to build. So hopefully that'll be kind of handy. And then we're also going to include our lifestyle information from our Prairie Water stuff, into this as well. So kind of just make it in a one big package too. So be on the lookout for, when are we thinking, Kevin? This winter, spring?
Yeah, I'm hoping to have it, later before the end of the year, be my
Okay.
goal. So
Sounds
should
good,
be done
but
out pretty soon.
great. We'll keep you all posted, and it'll be available on our Prairie Waters website as well. So you'll find it there too. And then, so aside from our resources that we have, our materials for you to utilize, our program, we're constantly doing social media campaigns and just encouraging, people to come to our area. That's our number one goal, is to get people here and to get people to live here. So we do a ton of social media campaigns. We're constantly sharing information on employment opportunities, attractions and businesses, and community events. So if you're an employer, you haven't liked our page yet, Prairie Waters, please do. And, we'll be sure to follow you, and then we can start sharing your stuff too if we haven't yet. We work closely with Explore Minnesota Tourism, posting all of our events and businesses on there. When I say businesses, it's places to eat, stay, and shop. So if you are one of those organizations, you can reach out to me and we can make sure that we have your business updated onto their website, because they get millions of viewers every year. So we want to make sure that we're represented there well. Google AdWords campaign, I talked a little bit about how we did that with the employment page. But then this is also some examples of what we ran this summer of highlighting some low cost of livings in our region. So again, if we're on Google and typing in, whether that's housing in Western Minnesota or jobs, like I mentioned before, these are some of the ads that were hopefully to entice some people. And we really targeted, you can see the one says like, move west, enjoy our low cost of living. So obviously we targeted kind of the metro area for some of these. And especially during COVID, we did, when people were kind of just wanting to isolate a little bit, we did a lot of these campaigns again too, just kind of targeting that metro area or the heavier populated areas, to get people to kind of maybe think rural and to maybe take a peek at what our region has to offer. We've been running billboards throughout the years. But yeah, those are just some quick snapshots of some of the marketing materials that we have, and then some of the social media and marketing that we do for the program. I'm going to pull up our website. So here's our website. It's just prairiewaters.com. Again, purpose is just kind of to be that one-stop shop. Each of our member communities has their own webpage on here, which is kind of fun. So I'll just pull up Mana Videos for an example. So you can just kind of scroll through. And again, I work with the cities and chambers, EDAs, whoever, to get all this updated to how they would want it. But yeah, as I mentioned, each of our communities have one of these pages, and then each of our counties has their own page as well. And then you scroll to the bottom and you see the relocation toolkit. That's the employer toolkit, community toolkit that I just ran through with you, that example of the city of Madison. But under visit here, again, I'm not going to go through this all. There's a lot of information. But under visit here, we have a robust mapping system for people on their smartphones or tablets, or even just on their web browser. But we have a mapping system. I think we can filter by 30 different topics for places to eat, stay, and shop. So it's a pretty cool mapping system. I encourage you to check it out. Again, you click on the link and it'll bring you, it's kind of like Google Maps, basically. It brings you to, that business's website with more information. During COVID, we actually went in and did a whole shop local campaign and updated organizations or businesses that were doing takeouts or pickups. So we put all of their menus on there as well. So we do a ton of updating to that. We go in quarterly or as needed that we hear of something and make sure that we get that updated. Live here. So our community toolkits that I had mentioned, we have a housing page, healthcare page. We list all of our healthcare in the region. Just scroll through here to show you kind of an example. And then we have an education page too, very similar to this, but just showcasing all of the different options that we do have in our 5-county region. Child care, you can click on that. Here you can see, if you click on these links, for instance, Swift County, you can click on that link. That'll bring you to all the licensed home providers and centers in the region. That'll bring you a direct list of all of those. Let's see. Why here? So this is kind of cool. We have a cost of living tool on our website. So what you can do is you can filter by county. So you could filter by, for instance, Chippewa County and compare it to Hennepin County. And you can just, you can highlight and whatever you want to do the comparison. But then it talks about differences in like hourly wages, childcare, even down to your groceries or healthcare, housing, transportation, taxes. So it's fun to play with. So I encourage you to go on there and kind of play around. You can click if you're single, if you're married, you're working full-time, part-time, how many children you have, and then it all fluctuates from there. So it's a fun little tool to play around with. And again, just, kind of that eye-opening of, the lower cost of living we do have out here. And then, highlighting too on, a lot of folks, I think the negative narrative is if we have low cost of living out here, then our wages are lower, which isn't necessarily always true. And with the beauty of working remotely and our high broadband, you can really kind of work anywhere with some of those remote jobs. So again, we did a whole bunch of campaigns around that. But other than that, I think those were the main things I wanted to hit for your, especially you employers. I know we have some city and county staff on here as well that I've been working with, but I wanted to kind of hit on those main things. I do plan on doing a wrap-up email shortly after this. It'll come in the constant contact email, but it'll have links to all of these different resources that I mentioned. If you want any boxes of our visitors and relocation guides, please let me know, and we'll be sure to get some delivered to you, or we can bring them to you as well. But other than that, is there any questions on the program? Any questions, any ideas for some of you employers that are out there? We're always looking for new ideas. And again, I just wanted to take this opportunity. Like I said, this program's been around for years. We're constantly doing updates, daily, making sure everything's up to date. And this was a great opportunity for me to be able to just explain this to you employers and make you aware, if you're not yet, that this exists out here. You don't need to recreate the wheel. You don't need to scrambled and try to find everything. We have it here. We want you to utilize it. We encourage, embedding your links onto our website, and we can do the same, vice versa. But it's here. We want you to use it. But if you ever have any feedback or any ideas, we want to hear from you, because a lot of this stuff, like I mentioned, our visitor's guide, a lot of that is driven from the feedback that we receive from our employers and how they would utilize it and what they would want to include in the guide. So with that, is there any questions?
Melissa, I just want to say, you know, I am not, if there's any entities that are doing something similar to this as comprehensive and updated, I'm not aware. And I know I've said this before in some of my other hiring workshops. This is so incredibly helpful. And just kudos to your team for doing this, because it's invaluable. And I send people to look at your site like, hey, look at what they're doing. Especially your cost of living tool. That is just so cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Well, thanks, Beth. And like I had mentioned before, we do a lot. I mean, a lot of our marketing or, you know, web design is all done through Vivid Image. So I appreciate you guys get it. You know, you get the recruitment, tourism side of it and what folks are looking for there. So we appreciate that partnership as well.
Yeah, well, thank you, Melissa and Beth. Great. A lot of great information, and you both do a great job, both promoting the region and marketing for the available job openings. If there are not any more questions, I think we'll conclude for the day. I will plan to send out the link to this recording if you want to share it with anyone you know. Beth, is it okay if we share your slides?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll send a copy of those out too, and we'll have all this posted on our website too when I get that all compiled. So I'll also be sending out a brief survey, so let us know how we did today. And also, yeah, if you have any other issues, topics that you'd like us to cover in an upcoming Lunch and Learn, please feel free to let us know. If there are no other questions, I see we do have a question from Dawn. So Dawn, go ahead.
Hi, all. Dawn Higlin, I'm Executive Director here at the RDC. When Beth was sharing, I think, her examples of places to do some postings, I just want to share that I have been using Handshake, the college network posting site for maybe the last several postings that I've done. And I think in this last hiring campaign that I was working on, I did upgrade to the paid subscription during that post, and I got significant number of candidates and qualified candidates, and they weren't just like recent graduates either. I was really surprised at how many must still be using that platform after they've graduated, maybe a year or 2 or 3 after they've graduated. So I just want to share, you know, that's been a good experience recently. You know, there are pros and cons about every one of these posting sites, things that I like and don't like. But that one was very good, and you can really pick and choose which colleges and universities you choose to post at. So you can be pretty restrictive, or, you know, like post to everybody in the Handshake network. And I'm sure there's hundreds and hundreds of colleges and universities across the country. So just had good experience with that recently.
I appreciate that feedback, because yeah, I suspected the paid version would help.
Any other questions before we log off here? All right, well, if not, thank you again for taking time out of your noon hour to join us again, and look forward to seeing you in the future. Hope everyone has a nice and safe, happy Thanksgiving. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.